I want to have a full discussion on the state of the nation, looking specifically at 2027 and the problem, the persistent, recurrent problem of insecurity. So to join me in that important conversation, I have a veteran journalist, a retired banker, and a public commentator, Mr. Etim.
Thank you, my brother.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
So the way it's going, it seems the politicians are confusing us big time. We have a very serious resurgence of insecurity in Plateau State, in Benue State. We have also heard of what happened in Kwara. You know, before that time, Borno State Governor raised an alarm. We had terrorist attacks in Adamawa. And now you have the politicians doing their thing, defecting. You know, the president was away for over 2 weeks. Correct. He comes back, and the first big news that we are dealing with is that you have a number of significant PDP governors defecting. Etim, how do you interpret all of this, you know, just to take off this conversation?
First, it's shocking. I'm disappointed, and I'm sorry that this is happening under the watch of a president that we trusted would make a difference. Now, he left, and we were told that he went for retreat.
Retreat, yeah.
I don't know of any president who goes on a retreat all by himself. A retreat is usually for the cabinet or the team to review and project. So that he went all by himself, I could not understand what kind of retreat that was. Now he came back to a nation that was under siege and on edge. The states you've mentioned were under attack. Over 300 people were killed when the president was aware. And a new terrorist group, Mahmuda, or whatever the name is, has emerged. And as you said, the first thing we heard was some PDP governors were going to, in fact, this happened when he was aware. Some PDP governors were preparing to defect. And yesterday, Delta State governor defected. This is very bad for our democracy. Very serious problem for the polity. We are heading for a one-party state like Zimbabwe. So APC will become ZANU-PF.
No, I don't agree with that.
No, I agree. It's heading that way. I understand that these governors are being compelled to defect.
Interesting.
Some of them are saying, no, we wouldn't defect. Some of them, like the one in Akwa Ibom, the governor of Akwa Ibom, is saying, I wouldn't defect, but I'm going to support the president and the Senate president. Is still under pressure.
Okay.
So it's a very serious problem. Never before have we seen this in the country, and it bodes very badly for the development of the country.
So let's say that's a very good opening comments. Let me also make some opening comments, and then we do look at it one by one. I think that I think the situation of insecurity in our country, and it's a recurrent problem, you know, demands of our political leaders the kind of decisiveness that we have not seen in over a decade.
Yes.
If we are going to end this thing, we have to end it. And that was why I just felt that when the president came back, that ought to be
the first thing. I thought there would be a policy announcement.
Yeah, well, you know, he did. He had a meeting, you know, I think a day.
That was almost a routine meeting.
You know, with the security chief.
Yes.
But my own beef with that, you know, if I can describe it that way, is that after the meeting, it was the NSA that came out, you know, to talk about that the president is not satisfied. I said, where is the president himself? When he was away, look, in other climes, a president that is away will come back.
Would have rushed back.
All right, but okay.
That level of problem in the country would have rushed back.
But let's say that, all right, yeah, he had things that he had set up to do. All right, fine. But then when he comes back, where is his face? The Aso Villa released a photo of him sitting on a couch.
The meeting was in a setting.
Not even, there was no formal, it wasn't a round table. It was as if they were meeting him on this other side of his dining table. Now, all of that sends very poor image of this government.
The optics was so bad.
And then the president could not come
even
out
talk
himself
to speak to the nation.
I met these guys. I summoned them the minute I got here. and we can't take this no more. No, he didn't do that. And then the same day, as a matter of fact, we heard news from Delta State that, on your mandate, it is so shattering, to somebody like me, and let me say this and then I'll revert to you. I'm giving President Bola Ahmed Tinubu the entire 4 years, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I will continue to nudge him, publicly, because I know that the people who serve inside, for the most part, and I'm not saying that all of them, for the most part, they don't have the ability or the courage to even look at their leaders and tell them exactly what they need to hear. There are those who do that, even in this government, I know them. But some of us who support the president have decided that we will call him out publicly for his own good and for the good of the country.
I think the president is facing two critical problems or challenges. Number one is his re-election, which he's entitled to.
Yeah.
And now he's facing a situation in which the northern half of the country has rebelled against him. And I've said publicly, even APC governors, APC members, strong members, are saying publicly that they are not going to support the president. Some like who did that? Rufai left. Rufai has left.
Yeah.
Professor Zulum has spoken publicly against the president.
But he hasn't said he will leave or not.
He hasn't said, but he doesn't need to say. Yeah. But a whole lot of other people are threatening. Baba Ahmed, who served only until last week, has left and is saying the same thing. These people are echoing the sentiment in the north. And this has been going on for the past 1 year. So the president's team has received the message and they are coming back, and the strategy is the whole of the 17 southern governors must support APC, especially the 8 opposition governors, the 8 non-APC governors in the south must support APC. Either they must defect to APC or walk towards the election of the president. So the calculation is to get the south, 17 states, and then walk towards another 7 states, and you have 24 states.
Yeah.
How that
was what
go?
Obasanjo did in 2003.
Correct.
At least attempted to, yeah.
That's what Obasanjo did. But now, this is bringing unexpected outcomes. The governors are being forced, they are defecting, they are getting their eyes off the ball. Insecurity is resurging across the country. So, what can this president do to redeem his image? His supporters are disappointed. They might not say so. The country is very disappointed. They held him in very high esteem. The expectations were very high. Now, this was the Bola Tinubu we knew in 1999 till 2007. What has happened? This president has to sit up and redeem his image.
Well, I mean, I agree that he has to do something. And, quite frankly, in my view, he still has time. I don't think he has used the last 23 months, optimally. But I think he still have enough time to sort himself out and save his legacy. But let's go back to the issue of, let's talk more about the governors now. I mean, this defection that we see, the calculation for 2027. First of all, let me say that I don't think that Nigeria can default to a one-party state. Now, I see the fear of people that the PDP governors are coming in and stuff, but that has normally often happened. There will always be a remnant, a significant remnant of political elites who will never look eye to eye to each other.
Yes.
And then the Nigerian people themselves, they will repress it. They will find a way to sort it. I think the best that can happen is to have two parties, but one seems to be really way ahead of the other. I don't have any fear about one-party state in Nigeria. It's not going to happen, in my view.
Why do you think so?
Yeah, exactly. Just because, for instance, so you're going to find implacable political elites, who the president will not be able to reconcile with, people who are sufficiently gone far,
But if that set of people is reduced to a small conclave in one corner of the country, it's almost as if we are a one-party state.
Yeah, well, so that's what I'm saying, that it's possible to
Although, of course, this is not unprecedented. In 1999, 2003, it was only AD that was...
and that's the point. So look at what happened in 1999, specifically 2003.
Okay.
Look at what happened. So AD had become, well, they were AD up till after that election.
Yes.
And then, Obasanjo cleared
everywhere
except,
remaining Lagos.
Except Lagos. And the guy who did Lagos is now the president. And he was able
to withstand
by himself.
And
he built up, he built up the opposition. And then he got to a point and he figured out, look, let me ally with the other guy in the north who is also in opposition, Muhammadu Buhari. So I believe that you will still find that kind of realignment of those who are implacably opposed. Like Tinubu was implacably opposed to Obasanjo.
Yes.
And Muhammadu Buhari also was not going to. They even yelled him to come to PDP too. So my theory is that there will always be people that are not just going to play ball, and then they will find the support of the Nigerian people who don't want a one-party state. But let's look closely into the question of why is it that those opposition, so we have in this country, we have Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, a former vice president, a consummate politician, but he's failing, in my view, big time as a political opposition. We have Peter Obi, Peter Obi even does a good show. He's all over the place, showing his face, but he can't even hold his party together. And then you now have even sitting PDP governors like Sheriff Oberweri in Delta capitulating. If I'm going to go with what you have insinuated, which a lot of people are saying, that maybe they are harassing them.
They are harassing them.
Maybe
some of them are even being shown EFCC reports. Their predecessors, EFCC reports of their predecessors.
So my point, so that I can land at him is that, so it turns out that the people who are in opposition don't have the courage.
They are weaklings.
They are weaklings. They are no gods.
They are weaklings.
They are so faint-hearted. And it will seem to me that if Nigeria is ever going to get a break in its political fortunes, it seems to me that it will never come from these political characters.
I had always known that this is not the generation of leaders and politicians that will change this country. I had always seen that they are opportunistic in nature and very cavalier in outlook. We are waiting for another set, not this one. Atiku had the promise years ago. I had thought that he would be a strong opposition leader. In fact, in 2007, I wrote Atiku a personal letter. 2006, 2007. Okay. I asked him to stay in PDP then, or whatever. He said APP was in. And
PDP was the ruling party then.
Yes, and build it to become a very strong party. I wrote him a personal letter. Garba was his
maybe you mean ACN after he left PDP. Because in 2007,
yes,
remember,
ACN, yes.
Yeah.
I asked him, stay and build a strong party and build your reputation. Unfortunately, he moved around. Yeah. Atiku seems to be driven by his ambition.
Yeah.
He is beclouded by ambition. He does not have the long-term view, the big grand vision.
Yeah.
He doesn't have.
Yeah.
And now, at almost 80, he's here in PDP as the opposition leader. But unfortunately, his party men, even his governors, don't respect him.
No.
Because he has not been living up to expectations.
He's not been leading them.
He's not been leading them. So that leaves the field in disarray. So you have El Rufai going to SDP to be talking from there, and you have Peter Obi in Labour. Nobody knows how long he would be in Labour and where he's going So the whole opposition is in disarray.
disarray.
And that is why President Tinubu and APC are taking advantage of them.
Clearly, I agree with you. And you will expect, for instance, that somebody like Atiku will be able to say that, look, you know what, Nigeria is in serious crisis. And I have the clout. You know, I have some political clout left. I'm going to be 80. You will expect that somebody like Atiku will say, let's just get one good guy who can get this job done and who we can sell to Nigeria. Why do you think that is difficult for an Atiku Abubakar to do?
Because many years ago, somebody prophesied that he was going to be president, and he bought it hook, line, and sinker. So he's pursuing that prophecy. He believes that he's...
Oh, boy.
He believes that he would be president one day. It's a tragedy of immense proportion.
It is.
It's a tragedy.
It is. Let's discuss one more thing about 2027, and then we come back full blast to insecurity, and then we conclude. I think that whatever happens, you know, the presidency must stay in the South for another 4 years.
Absolutely.
Now, we have seen people like Baba Ahmed, you know, the guy who was until recently the political advisor to the vice president, come out and say the North is going to decide in another 6 months. You know, nobody can win without it. I thought that was not only arrogant, I think that was a breach on what I consider to be one national consensus that Nigerians share about rotational presidency. 8 in the North, 8 in the South. The same thing that El Rufai said, that, well, you know, if we get to 2027 and we don't find anybody in the South, yeah, we send somebody in the North. I think that under no condition should we have power go to the other region until one region has finished 8 years.
8 years.
Except, you know, just like the time of Yaradua, you know, the Constitution has to, but short of that, you know, I think it is wrong, it is irresponsible, it doesn't show equity, you know, that you have, gentlemen like El Rufai and Buba Ahmed.
El Rufai and Baba Ahmed are speaking out of anger, malice, and frustration. I don't think their views represent the generality of the North. I think and I believe that the generality of the North and a lot of the elites in the North have bought into this rotation. 8 years, 8 years. Yeah. But El Rufai himself, in the dying days of President Buhari, was rooting for a southern president.
Yes, to his credit.
So it is his falling out with the incumbent president that has set him off. And once a politician is angry, he can undo the house he built. He can rewrite the constitution he wrote. He can say anything he will regret after. Baba Ahmed has been a loose cannon of an irredentist.
Yeah, somebody said that he's a member of the 4-member Northern Elders Forum. 4 members.
4 members.
He's
the spokesman of that. He has been in that mold for a very long time. So he wants to, I think he wants to rattle the president. They are all have personal issues with
and this is the problem, you know.
And that's the problem. They allow their personal grievances. A Nigerian politician will allow his personal grievances to become his vision for the country. He will clothe it. Yeah. He will clothe his personal grievances as if that is his national development plan for the next 20 years. That's the problem for this.
But although, you know, you will consider there is quite a bit of discontent in the North regarding this administration.
Because the North, the major economic mainstay of the North has been destroyed. And that's agriculture. By insecurity.
But do they realize that, you know, this problem did not start under this president?
They will realize it, but they wouldn't accept it publicly. They realize it. But,
how do you think they play?
But this is the president they have on seat now, and they are the ones they are blaming. The North is in a very difficult state, and that's affecting the whole of the country. Because if they don't produce food, we won't eat. And that's why there's serious food inflation in the country today. these presidents just have to do something.
Yeah, he's got to sit up.
You got to sit up.
Yeah.
Because I sit up and fight insecurity. Fight insecurity.
I mean, the only way that I see, and then this will be my last point, and then we move to the other point, you have the last word. The only way I think that, any opposition can crystallize against him in a way that creates a little bit of contest is if the opposition people come together and support a southern candidate. What do you think?
I think so, but again, there's a problem with throwing up a new southern candidate. So he's going to stay 8 years, the new person, if he wins. He's going to stay 8 years. And the North will say, that will add up to 12 years. What are we going to do? So the President Tinubu will say, you rather just wait.
Just stick with me.
Stick with me.
What about former President Jonathan? He has only one term left constitutionally.
But nobody's talking about him. Is there? He himself is not enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, certainly.
Maybe he's keeping it low for now.
Yeah. Okay, let's conclude on this issue of insecurity. So, if you look at the problem, I mean, you're also a journalist. We were both journalists. We have looked at this thing. I was even in government. I think it is the decisiveness of the political elite that is missing.
Correct.
And I'm thinking that why do we have all the other leaders in this country who are not politicians? Why are they silent? Why are they not making a big deal of this insecurity? What is happening in typically is that, an ethnic group, and I don't want to keep mentioning the name so that it doesn't seem as if, because it's just a group among them. This doesn't represent them. They are taking people's land. They are killing people. In Plateau, the governor of Plateau says 60 communities. Can you imagine that? 60 communities have been taken over by this group, taken over, but through killings and violence.
That's true.
Now, so my point, Etim, so that you put it all together, is that why are our religious leaders, traditional leaders, leaders of thought, academic leaders, why are they silent? Why are they not saying that, look, let us solve this insecurity problem? People are dying needless deaths. Etim.
Well, they have been speaking, these people, maybe not loudly enough, but the point is, there's a recent revelation that these killers are actually not Nigerians. They're coming from outside the country.
Yeah. And some of them have even settled for quite a bit of time.
Yes. And
from Mali, Mauritius.
They are coming from the Sahel.
Yeah.
Coming down south. And last year, BBC reported that they will be invading Nigeria through Benin Republic. Yes, it was reported because they had just last year invaded Burkina Faso and killed over 600 people. And BBC did very interesting documentary and said, next target, Nigeria, watch out. This is coming to your doorstep. I think this is what we are having. Why the government, our military, is not rising up to the challenge is baffling. Do they want the country to be overrun before?
Well, some of the retired generals have said to me that the military and and possibly the police too don't get a sense that the political leaders, that it's like they're getting mixed signals from the political leaders. That if the political leaders stand up and say, hey, look, let's end this thing, and they don't see any contradictory body language. I mean, many of the generals
that is absolutely very correct, because up there in the north, you see some kind of either contradiction or hesitation in condemning this, or the language is different. Yeah. Some will say, oh, the killings are bad, but allow them to settle. Some will say, oh, no, they can't settle at all. They should come and buy the land. So there is no definite pronouncement that these people are external aggressors, invaders, that they are at war with us.
The country.
Yes. So that is what we need to hear.
Yeah. And that was why, just...
we shouldn't mistake them for the headers that go about
their own business of
yes, those ones pose some kind of insecurity or security threat to They enter farmlands and eat the crops in the farms. But these ones are not the headers.
These are really...
These are real terrorists.
Yeah, using the opportunity to cause mayhem. Well, we continue to urge our political leaders, especially the president, to really, really do his legacy a good and do this country a great good by ending this problem or significantly reducing it.
By now, there's no reason why we shouldn't have state police. More boots on the ground.
Yeah.
That is the solution to this problem.
More boots on the ground, whether it's police or military.
Yes.
So that all these ungoverned territories where they go to do their attacks are properly managed. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Etim. 2027 is shaping out to be a very, very interesting...
It's going to be a very interesting year. A new INEC chairman would be appointed in November.
By the end of this year, yeah.
Yes. Mahmoud is finishing his 10 years.
Yeah.
That will give a direction, some kind of signal,
some indication
on what to
happen.
expect. The hand, Tinubu's hand in the game ahead.
To wrap up the conversation, thank you again, Mr. Etim, for coming to Inside Sources.
Anytime.
All right. Thank you so much.